Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another knowledge lecture. As luck would have it, tonight, as I'm recording this, I have a lodge meeting here coming up shortly for Yorkright. So you see me in my purple regalia. The chapter we're meeting on tonight is the Cryptic Masons, and we wear purple. The downside is, as I don't have a lot of time, that my background failed and NVIDIA Broadcast has failed me yet again. So I will be in search of new streaming software because I cannot recommend OBS and NVIDIA Broadcast. It constantly is just not good. I don't know who they have developing their software. It had an update last week, and this is the result. So you get to see my room. All right. So today we will be going over the Sephiroth for Knowledge Lecture 5. The Sephiroth of the Tree of Life. And so just to kick this off, what we're here doing. These knowledge lectures are for the Order of the Rose Cross, which is an informal order that we have here, composed of brothers and sisters who want to have a more structured way of learning esoteric practices, as opposed to just meeting and randomly talking about random things. And we follow what has been laid out by the Golden Dawn. And the reason why that is simply because it's a great curriculum that anyone can pick up and obtain. And if you can't get into something, or if something doesn't exist, which right where we are anyway, there is no Golden Dawn within driving distance. You have to fly. You make one yourself. So it's an informal group, meaning there's no hierarchy or anything, and we get together and we discuss esoteric things. And a lot of us are different other orders, so it gives a structure. So the neophyte grade is the very first thing that you do, and it's very basic information. It's very basic stuff related to alchemy, astrology, and the Kabbalah. In my opinion, if you have successfully passed through the neophyte grade, meaning you have sat through the initiation ritual, sat through the knowledge lectures, and can pass the exam, and you've been doing the banishing rite long enough where it's starting to feel effective, you are more knowledgeable, or you're in a better place than 4 out of 5 people I know that are in esoterics. So even though this is the very beginning, getting through the very beginning puts you well ahead of most people. If you're interested in the Order of the Rose Cross and you're in the desert area, just reach out. We'd love to have you. We do have meetups on Discord, usually weekly. It depends on what's going on. And we have once a month actual get-together. So there's that. All right, so we're going to be going through the Sephiroth tonight. And the Sephiroth make up the Tree of Life. And so if you're testing for proficiency, what you need to know is you need to know what Kabbalah is, how it's used, and what the Sephiroth are in order from 1 to 10. You should be able to name them. You should be able to tell me what they are, what the name means, and basically what they represent. And going forward, if you're just beginning Kabbalah, you will be doing a lot of nothing more than the philosophical Kabbalah is what I call it. It's essentially reading about it and learning it and trying to apply it to your daily life. And that is simply knowing what traits make up each of the Sephiroth and applying it to the different situations that occur in your life. The Tree of Life is all about balance. The Tree of Life is interwoven in pretty much every esoteric tradition in the West, to include Freemasonry. Some of the Freemason brothers may not want to admit that or agree with that, but it's literally everywhere, starting from the first degree. And so it is a central point of contact for everything we do in Western esotericism. So this is a near and dear to my heart subject, something I've been dealing with and working in for over 30 years now, and I still have only scratched the surface. So enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and let's discuss in Mather's words, and I'll interject a little bit, on the Sephiroth, what they are, what they mean, and what you need to know for your proficiency. Okay. The Hebrew Kabbalists refer to the highest and most abstract ideas to 10 emanations of deity, which are called the Sephiroth. Singularly, they are called Sephira. When arranged in a certain manner, the 10 Sephiroth and the 22 paths which connect them form the Tree of Life. Together, the 10 Sephiroth and the 22 paths comprise what are called the 32 paths of wisdom. And there's the number 32. If you add in the hidden Sephiroth, there are 33 paths of wisdom. And there again, 32 and 33 are numbers that come up a lot in a lot of things, particularly if you're in Freemasonry, the Scottish Rite, that will also ring some bells. And remember, we talked in the last knowledge lecture that the Tree of Life, there are several versions of it. We are going to be working in the Hermetic Tree of Life, which was basically made standard by the Golden Dawn, as this was the version that they chose to use. Continuing on, the Tree of Life is the single most important symbol of the Kabbalah. Just a glance at its diagram will reveal it to be a system of perfect mathematics, symmetry, and beauty. It is represented as 10 circles or orbs known as the Sephiroth, which is said to mean numbers, spheres, and emanations. Some have seen the Sephiroth as divine powers or vessels. Others regard them as divine tools or instruments of the eternal, although not separated from the eternal like human tools are. All agree, however, that the Sephiroth express divine attributions or essences that are organized into an archetype pattern, which is the model for everything that has come into the manifest universe. The relationships implied in the Tree of Life underscore the whole of existence, and so the attributes of the Sephiroth may be found in any branch of knowledge. Although their basic definition confirms them as characteristics of the divine, they can be described in terms of human experience because men and women are formed, as stated before, in the image of the divine. One essential aspect of the Sephiroth is that they are placed upon the Tree of Life in perfect juxtaposition, so that each Sephira counterbalances one on the opposite side of the tree. The 10 Sephiroth emanate from the 3 negative veils of existence, various abstract stages of nothingness, in succession, as if one candle were lit from another without the emanator being diminished in any way, and in a specific order. They are not seen as being separate from the source. The Kabbalists agree that there are 10, because 10 is a perfect number, one which includes every digit without repetition, and contains the total essence of all numbers. The number 10 is therefore an all-embracing number. Outside of 10, there exists no other such number, because what is beyond 10 returns again to units. All right, on the right there, let me get my handy pointer. All right, so again, this is the Tree of Life on the right, hidden by my face, but you get the gist. You see all 10 Sephiroth, and those comprise 3 pillars. Pillar on the left, a pillar on the right, and a pillar down the middle. The 3 great pillars of the Kabbalah, which are known. The middle pillar is the pillar of wisdom, or it has other names, but wisdom is one that I'm familiar with. The black pillar on the left has a B for Boaz, and the white pillar on the right has a J for Jachin. And those 3 form the 3 pillars of the Kabbalah. And they have different names as well. There's the pillar of severity versus the pillar of mercy, and so on and so forth. So you will hear different names attributed to them. Now, Mathers goes on with the pillars. The most important configuration which occurs on the tree is that of the 3 pillars formed by the natural succession of the Sephiroth. The left-hand pillar, also called the pillar of severity, consists of the spheres of Bina, Gebura, and Hod. The right-hand pillar, known as the pillar of mercy, is comprised of the spheres of Hokmah, Chesed, and Netzach. The central spheres of Kether, Tifereth, Yesod, and Malkuth form the middle pillar, or the pillar of mildness. It's another name, wisdom or mildness. The right hand, or white pillar, is described as masculine, positive, and active, and is also known as the pillar of force. The left hand, or black pillar, is feminine, negative, and passive, and this pillar is called the pillar of form. The black and white pillars represent the two great contending forces in nature, and their descriptions are not meant to imply that one is good and the other evil, but rather that magnetic energy exists between these two universal opposite forces. The whole of the cosmos depends on the perfect balance of these energies. The middle pillar is the pillar of balanced forces, the equilibrium of the other two columns. In Golden Dawn temples, only the left and right pillars are physically symbolized by actual pillars. The middle pillar is represented by the aspirant standing between the other two. And those of us in other orders, such as Freemasonry, may also recognize the two pillars. Nothing is new under the sun, and the Golden Dawn does draw heavily from Masonic tradition. Sexual polarity on the tree. There are numerous schools of Kabbalistic thought that ascribe masculine or feminine attributes to each of the Sephiroth. Oftentimes, these various sources disagree with one another. Very true. Disagreements over Kabbalah ensure that the system is kept alive, dynamic, and expanding. The minute everyone totally agrees with all the precepts of a specific esoteric system is the minute that that system dies. We too have precepts of a specific esoteric system. We too have often felt strongly about the sexual polarity of certain Sephiroth, only to change our minds later as our view of the Tree of Life has expanded. For the most part, each Sephira is an abstraction that contains certain aspects which are characteristics of both sexual polarities. No one Sephira is simply all masculine or all feminine. Here we will discuss the sexual polarities of the spheres as they relate to the three primary elements of fire, water, and air. As far as the spheres of the tree are concerned, fire is masculine, water is feminine, and air is neutral or androgynous. And we will begin with Kether. I've heard it pronounced many different ways, so if I'm not pronouncing it in a way that you agree with, apologies. Keter, starts at the top. It is number one. It is the crown. And these are the three nothingnesses above that emanate from the holy pleroma, as it were. There's different names for this. The fifth world, hidden world of Adam Kadmon, the Martinists and Pascali and them. They have the Christian Kabbalah. They have a whole system which describes the things that emanate from above. It's beyond the scope of this course. What we want to do is, if you're studying for proficiency, you're looking at, it's called Keter. It means crown, and and I'm going to ask, what does this represent, and how can you apply this to things in life? So its keyword is the source. It's Yetziratic title. This is the path of hidden intelligence. Its physical representation is the first motion, and its symbols are a crown, a point, and a Philfot cross. And right here, I'm going to take a moment and pause for a moment. I'm going to address something very, very important. Now, there's another symbol associated with this. The Philfot cross doesn't use the word, but it is a version of this thing. This symbol, which was perverted heavily during World War II by the Austrian painter. Now, we all know, hopefully, who I'm talking about. You can't really talk about it on YouTube or you will get banned. And people have a lot of emotions about it. So the certain symbol I'm talking about used to adorn their flag. That symbol is much, much older than Nazi Germany. And it still flies on Buddhist temples and other spiritual temples in the East. I've seen with my own eyes while being stationed in Korea in the 1990s. And it caused an uproar amongst the GIs when we saw that symbol flying. We're like, why is that flying? And the answer is that symbol is older, much, much older than the West. So that symbol is another symbol of Kether. And I don't include it because of censorship and other emotional turmoil that it can cause by seeing it. It does not mean anything, has nothing to do with the World War II incarnation of it. They stole a lot of symbols from us, and they turned them into evil. And the East, when asked why you would still fly it, why are we going to let the West pervert our symbols and make them evil? It's not evil. It's not an evil symbol. You say it's evil because of what that guy did. So, anyhow, that's important. Going back to Kether. The first Sephir at the edge of the three negative veils is Kether, the crown, the number one, which encloses within itself the remaining 9 digits of the decimal scale. was described by Pythagoras as the undividable monad. It cannot be divided, yet it can be defined. By the process of reflection, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, etc., the monad defines and generates all of the other numbers. Kether is the point. It is the moment that the universe as we know it was conceived. Kether is the initial spark or the first breath of the divine. This sphere is placed at the summit of the middle pillar at the tree of life, at the apex of equilibrium. It's at the top. The Sefer Yetzirah, or Book of Formation, says of Kether, the first path is called the admirable or the hidden intelligence, the highest crown. For it is the light giving the power of comprehension of that first principle which has no beginning, and it is the primal glory, for no created being can attain to its essence. The word hidden intelligence implies a hint of the unmanifest nature of Kether. The purest seeds of life, the divine spark, are found only at the level of the first emanation, where they have always been, removed from the concept of having a beginning point. The divine life essence, as it descends the tree of life, is merely undergoing a process of transformation from one form of energy in another, as explained in the teachings of alchemy. The Sefer Yetzirah also indicates that no created being can hope to attain to the pure spiritual light and essence of Kether. That would be akin to an adult human being returning to the womb to become a fertilized egg. No being using a physical organism as its vehicle of consciousness can attain to the essence of Kether. However, if consciousness has been purified to the point where it transcends thought, it receives from the primal glory the power of comprehension of the first principle. Kether is the sphere that contains all that was, is, and will be. It is the place of first emanation and ultimate return. The crown is the sphere of pure spiritual being, the point of absolute unity without division, ultimate peace and oneness. Kether is the dwelling place of the divine white brilliance, the Godhead which is androgynous, but that which contains the purest potentials of both male and female. It is the source of all and the highest divine essence of which we can conceive, the primum mobile, or first whirlings of manifestation, a phrase which aptly describes the activity of the cosmic energy at the time the universe was created. All comes from Kether, and all will ultimately return to Kether. Sephira number 2, Hokmah, or Chokmah. This translates to wisdom. Its key word is the supernal father. Its Yetziric title is the illuminating intelligence. Its physical representation is the firmament of the zodiac, and its symbols are a line, a phallus, or the letter Yod, which is right here in this triangle right here. And this is its Hebrew spelling. Hokmah is the second Sephira, and its name means wisdom. Hokmah is almost an extension of Kether, the overflowing of the divine into a second, which is a reflection of the first. From the absolute unity of the one now comes the two, the first active expression of polarity and the balance of opposites, which forms the matrix of the manifest universe. According to the Sefer Yetzirah, the second path is that of illuminating intelligence. It is the crown of creation, the splendor of the unity, equaling it, and it is exalted above every head, and named by the Kabbalists the second glory. Hokmah is clearly confirmed here as the essence of illumination, not the same as the brilliant spark of Kether, which exists on a higher plane, but as wisdom, perfect knowledge and understanding that has developed as a result of the reflection of Kether into the second sphere, a mirror of the first, enabling the divine spirit to both emanate from itself and behold itself. The crown of creation indicates that Hokmah was created from the crown. Again, we are presented with the idea that the primal spirit is not diminished in any way through the succession of the Sephiroth, the splendor of unity equaling it. That it is exalted above every head alludes to Hokmah's high position on the tree along with the other supernals above the abyss. And what supernals means is it is this triangle right here of 1, 2, and 3. This is called the supernal triangle. So Hokmah is wisdom. It is on the supernal triangle, and it is above the abyss, and the abyss is this place right here on the tree. This is Da'at, the hidden Sephiroth. So there's nothing here. This space right there is called the abyss. As the first Sephira to develop polarity, Hokmah is placed at the summit of the Pillar of Mercy, or the right-hand pillar. If Kether can be described as a point, then Hokmah can be portrayed as a straight line, an extension of the point into space. The energy of Hokmah is dynamic and outpouring, for it is the great stimulator of the universe. Within Hokmah lies the first masculine, fire expression, as opposed to the androgynous expression of Kether. Where Kether is the calm center point of the universe, Hokmah is complete action and movement, the vital energizing element of existence. It is the archetypal positive and the great supernal father, Abba. However, Hokmah is not simply a masculine sexual energy, but rather the root essence of masculine or dynamic force. Moving to number 3 over here. So 1, 2, 3, bam. Bina, understanding. Key word, this is the supernal mother. This is the Holy Spirit. This is the Virgin Mary. This is Sophia. The Yetziric title is the sanctifying intelligence. Its physical representation is Saturn, and its symbols are a womb, a cup, a triangle, and the Hebrew letter Hech, which are all illustrated on this slide. Bina, the third Sephira, whose name means understanding, is the feminine counterpart of Hokmah. This sphere is situated at the summit of the left-hand pillar on the Tree of Life. Bina is the supernal mother, Ima, the great negative or female water force. By negative, we mean receptive in a purely scientific way, like the positive and the negative parts of an atom, not as a value judgment. Positive and negative are inseparable properties. One cannot properly function without the other. Receptivity is a feminine attribute, and just as in the case of Hokmah, masculinity, we are again referring to sexual function in the most basic and unmanifested of concepts. Hokmah, the sephira of duality, by necessity overflows into a third sphere in order for another natural polarity to occur. Bina, the number 3, is a sphere which builds form, another feminine function. Bina receives the overflow of the dynamic current of energy from Hokmah and organizes it for the first time under the concept of form. Force and form are respective male and female properties, which occur over and over and over again on the Tree of Life. But this is where they begin. It must be remembered that at this level on the tree, the concept of form exists only as a polarity and as the merest essence of the capacity to build form, stemming from the excess negative receptive energy that has spilled over from Hokmah. Bina, as Amma, is the disciplining mother, restricting and structuring the free-flowing energy from Hokmah into what will ultimately be born into organizing form. The first letter of Bina is the Hebrew letter Bet, which means house. Bet is also the archetypal symbol of all containers. Another word you will hear Bina called is the Mother Superior, and the image they'll give you to remember that is of the stern-faced nun. And I used to go to Catholic school, so that one was an easy one for me to remember. So Bina rules the pillar of severity with her ruler. Together, Hokmah and Bina are the two polarizing facets of manifestation, the supernal father and the supernal mother, whose union results in the birth of the universe. Together, Hokmah and Bina are the Elohim, the creator gods referred to in Genesis. They are the two primal building blocks of life, the archetypal proton and electron that comprise the whole of creation. And that part right there is important to understand. Together, Hokmah and Bina are Elohim, the creator gods referred to in Genesis. And in Genesis, if you look, they use the term our image. We will create in our image, plural. The Sefer Yetzirah states this about Bina. The third path is the sanctifying intelligence. It is the foundation of primordial wisdom, which is called the creator of faith, and its roots are Amen. And it is the parent of faith, from which doth faith emanate. Here the Yetziric text implies that Bina is still in a hallowed or blessed state because it remains above the abyss, in an unmanifested condition. Sanctification expressed the idea of that which is holy and set apart. It is given the title the primordial wisdom because it is the primary source of organization at this stage of divine emanation, where a distinct polarity has been defined on the Tree of Life. And again, we're counting down here, everyone. We're going from 1 to 2 to 3, so we are descending the tree. This is the glyph known as the flaming sword or the lightning flash, and it symbolizes creation. This is how creation was done. Bina is here referred to as the creator of faith. Faith rests upon understanding, whose parent is Bina. Faith is also defined as belief and veneration, but in the light of mystical consciousness, faith can be defined as the consciousness result of superconscious experience. The average personality is not aware of this faith, but is nonetheless affected and modified by it, possibly with great feeling and emotional intensity. The statement that the roots of Bina are in amen, meaning firm, faithful, or so be it, refers to Kether. This clearly indicates that although Bina issues from Hokmah, the source of ultimate faith or truth is from the crown of Kether. Although wisdom is the quality of Hokmah, understanding is assigned to Bina. Wisdom alludes to complete and infinite knowledge, while understanding imparts the notion of an ability to grasp the ideas that are intrinsic to wisdom. And then we will conclude this portion of the lecture. There's a lot more, but we're going to keep this video short. We're going to talk a little bit about the abyss. Between Bina and the rest of the Sephiroth is a great chasm known as the abyss. This marks a distinct separation between the higher and the lower parts of the tree, a difference in levels of being. Again, this is the supernal triangle. The three supernals of Kether, Hokmah, and Bina symbolize higher states of consciousness that transcend human awareness. It is above what we are normally capable of being aware of. The lower Sephiroth, which we will explore next, operate within the realm of ideas and thus are the only ones we as humans can comprehend with our normal consciousness. In order to understand the intangible essence of the supernals, one must cross the abyss, which means leaving the earthly personality and the physical body behind in order to reach the divine self. Within the gulf of the abyss is what is known as the invisible Sephira, Da'at, which is not a true Sephira, but which can be likened to a passageway across the abyss. And this is where the lecture, the official lecture, ends for right now. We will get into the other Sephira later, but crossing the abyss, this right here, this is Tiferet. I've also heard it referred to as the middle chamber, which may hold meaning to you. Once you cross the middle chamber and that veil is torn open and you can cross, this is a dangerous journey right here. This is the completion of the great work, as it were. And it is not a guarantee that it is a safe journey. We'll just put it that way. This is a dangerous time. So thank you for sticking around for the supernal triangle of the Tree of Life. That was the first three Sephiroth. Again, everything that I'm doing here can be found published already. I am just reading it and interjecting my own thoughts. So if you want to initiate yourself into the Golden Dawn or understand what's going on a little bit more, you can easily find these lectures in a number of places. So thank you. This will conclude the first part of the fifth lecture. And when we resume, we will go down to what is known as the moral triangle, where the middle chamber resides. And I'm looking forward to continuing that journey with you. Until then, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.